But it's absolutely necessary. But it's absolutely
Hey everyone, thanks for stopping in again and keeping an eye to the sky with us as we watch our coverage of Elsa as it makes its approach to the Florida coast here in a matter of hours. It should be making landfall shortly after the sun comes up tomorrow morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Leslie Hudson for MyRadar. I'm going to continue to give you a quick update here as we head through the next couple of hours. This should hold us over until we get into the fast forecast early tomorrow morning. Then, of course, Mike Linden will be in after that, along with Jamie Martin, and then I'll be back in as well tomorrow to get you through the duration of tomorrow's landfall and into the subsequent days after that. But first things first, let's take a look at the MyRadar app. And of course, you can see what has really been a tale of several factors here this evening. We saw an eye feature show up on the radar the last time we saw our live shot with you, which was around 9 p.m. And then it quickly deflated after that, became much more ragged in presentation. It's starting to become more evident again on radar. And the Hurricane Center does believe that this is going to maintain its hurricane strength as it approaches the coast of the Big Bend area in these next 7 to 8 hours, maybe 9 hours from now, but probably more like 8 hours it looks like. Let me toggle off the hurricane tracker because that is a paid feature, but you don't need that to track cyclones. There you'll notice again in the beginning of that loop how it's right there, how organized that center is, that hurricane eye, and then becomes much more ragged. A lot of us were thinking this was going to be downgraded to a tropical storm with this 11 p.m. update, but the Hurricane Center maintaining its hurricane strength and does believe that it will actually come in as a Cat 1 hurricane tomorrow morning. Let me show you some video that I got from earlier this evening. This was in Sanibel, Florida. That's over by Captiva, the Fort Myers area. And folks there, again, we're dealing with peripheral impacts from Elsa. The winds there were estimated between 50 to 65 miles an hour, and you can certainly see some howling winds, the palm trees swaying. Many areas, of course, were under a tropical storm warning as Elsa passed to the west of Florida earlier today and still kind of paralleling the coast as we speak, but starting to get a little bit closer to some of those direct impacts that we've been talking about over the last several hours. So we have seen a couple of new watches and warnings, as well as some additions to the tropical warning. So we'll show you that on our computer, and we've got our 5 live radars going. And again, the eye, very difficult to pinpoint here, and I'm actually going to turn off I'm going to turn off these layers real quick because I wanted to show you where there was the National Weather Service has issued some tornado watches. There they are for parts of Metro Orlando. That happened within this last hour or 2 hours, between 1 to 2 hours that they issued these tornado watches. And then we've also seen an extension in the tropical storm warnings, and we also have a tropical storm watch that now goes up to North Carolina. So I'll show you that as well in a second. Let me turn the radar back on. Let's come back down here and I'll show you those warnings coming up in just a second. But again, some of these storms have the potential to train several inches of rain on top of one another, and the concern is of course some of these storms will have up to 3 inches of rain inside of them as we head into the overnight hours, and that's could potentially produce some of these flooding conditions. So that's the threat for tonight will be some of these higher return rates. So here's some of the numbers. I'll just toggle these on for you. We'll just take a random guess, random look rather. And this one, there's one of the ones I was talking about. So earlier this evening, we talked about the National Weather Service was very concerned about some of these. Oh, let me take that one off. Producing up to 3 inches of rain an hour. And let me see, my computer's locking up on me here, but you can see that, well, it's gone a little nutso. Let's just take a couple of those off. There we go. This one, again, that band, and it's this one that's right here, just in case you're not sure where I toggled that on. It's right here. The rain rate there, over 3 inches of rain an hour. So that is definitely enough to put some significant flooding down. And there is a flood watch up for many parts of Florida on top of the tropical storm warnings and the hurricane warnings, and now these tornado watches, these newly issued tornado watches that we're also watching. So some of these tropical rain bands are going to put down significant, that is a big amount of rain. 3 inches in 1 hour will be localized flooding. That's going to be a big problem for folks for sure as we head into these next couple of hours. So here's a look at the updated watches and warnings. As I mentioned, we're still dealing with a hurricane warning for the Big Bend area, tropical storm warnings to the north and south of it, but new, you can see all the way up into North Carolina now, a tropical storm watch has been issued, and they extended the tropical storm warning to cover the entire state of South Carolina, and already was in place for Georgia. So the thinking, of course, will be that within the next 24 to 48 hours, those conditions will extend up into those states. And the Hurricane Center does believe that Elsa will maintain its tropical storm strength once it moves inland and loses its hurricane status. It will remain a tropical storm. Here I'm going to zoom in yet again. Let me stop that radar. And let's take a look at that, because you can there's the eye at one point, again, very evident on the radar imagery, and it's right here. And then of course it just completely deflated about 9:30 this evening, and in these last few frames, and it's definitely vertically stacked. The National Hurricane Center been flying inside of this, so they're saying at the low levels, mid levels, and upper levels of Elsa, this is a vertically stacked hurricane. So there is a small window for this to try and again maintain its strength as a hurricane and perhaps get a little bit more organized. So now up to the last frame here, which is current, you can see that again there is no closed eye right here, but the system, the hurricane itself, in terms of the cloud deck, is vertically stacked, and that is a very, very important part of developing cyclones. So they're going to keep it as its hurricane strength, and potentially it may maybe try to give a little bit of a run for some stronger winds, but probably not going to happen. Hurricane hunters were inside this, and I'm going to show you that data in just a second. They found a flight level wind of about 80 knots, which would transfer down to about 73, 74 at the surface. So that would again indicate that they're definitely still getting hurricane force winds in some of the northeastern part of the hurricane, and that's why they're going to keep it as a Cat 1. Those are the live sustained winds, by the way, that I'm showing you, and they've been in the neighborhood of 25 to 15 most of the night tonight. The highest one right now is Sarasota with a sustained wind of 25. Again, some of those gusts have been around 35, 36, 37 miles an hour. Primarily located just along the western parts of Florida. We haven't seen a whole lot of that extend inland through parts of the interior parts of Florida. And then on this particular infrared imagery, this is a visible IR blend, but using the IR, which of course uses can be day or night. But it, just again, very ill-defined, not well organized system on radar presentation. But this time of the night, nocturnal heating can actually re-energize some of these storms. So the thinking is that there is going to be another attempt on Elsa's part to take another stab at getting a little bit better organized. I'm not saying this is going to be stronger than a Cat 1, absolutely not. I think this is going to be marginal at that when it comes in tomorrow. But there is certainly some attempts here in some of the thunderstorms in that last imagery there, that last frame, to maybe try and energize. And of course, it's got several hours to do so through tonight, which through the overnight, which tropical storms like nighttime or nighttime heating, and they kind of use that latent heat to build those storms. So we'll see what happens as we head through these next several hours. So here's the latest info from the hurricane hunters. Again, this data was within this last hour. Their wind speed was 68, surface pressure 1,001. But again, that was at this particular pass that they came in. They came in over from the west and transversed or transected the storm rather, and did multiple passes in this particular run. But in this particular update, we got a 68-mile-per-hour wind with the pressure at 1,001. Officially, this is still a hurricane. So here's a look at the infrared, and again, ragged in presentation. This kind of sheared apart. But there's still a core level wind there that's going to keep it as the hurricane strength. So as of 11 p.m., the pressure 997. So in that pass that I was showing you from the hurricane hunters, it was 1,001. So just, they it depends on where they come in at the storm, where they do the cross section. The official millibars is 997 and moving north at 14. Expected to stay on this north movement until landfall, and then shortly thereafter should start to take that turn towards the right or towards the northeast, towards southeastern Georgia and into South Carolina after that. So it's about 45 miles southwest of Tampa. So there's not a whole lot of time left here before it would make landfall. It is going to be making landfall very near Cedar Key, as I mentioned, relatively soon. So within these next several hours, we are anticipating that landfall, and then quickly starting to make that turn towards the northeast as we head into tomorrow night. It'll be 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds over Georgia. That's over Augusta, and then up into South Carolina by Thursday with winds at 40 miles an hour, and then maintaining those winds at 40 through Thursday, and even by Friday, getting a little extra tropical. Starting to get some hybrid characteristics, so we'll get a little bit of some tropical characteristics and some more surface features with a low pressure center. So that's going to create some gale conditions. I would imagine we'll see some gale warnings up in the northeastern part of the country on top of some of these tropical warnings that we might see if it remains tropical enough. If it remains a tropical low, we'll see some tropical storm warnings issued for the northeastern part of the country as well. So that all has to be defined yet as we head into these next couple of days as well from the National Hurricane Center. So as we head into tonight, we've been talking about the storm surge. A lot of folks have had some questions in some of our earlier live streams, and generally speaking, the surge has already started. It began earlier in the day today. The surge, the wall of water, always comes in before the landfall. So we've already seen the rise in the surge of water, and we'll continue to see that over these next several hours. Now here's a look at the wind radar. I talked about this in our last live stream. We get this particular product every 6 hours, so you can still see again, a not well-defined system, our kidney bean, if you will, right here, which is the tropical storm force winds, and then our larger kidney bean right here with up to tropical storm force winds, and then there's our hurricane winds with that red disc. So let me scrub this. And we're starting to see, a lot of those tropical storm force winds as we head through these next couple hours really start to impact Hillsborough County, Pinellas County. Sarasota also has already been dealing with this for several hours. And as we head through tonight, look how that red disc slowly shrinks. And this is also new from the Hurricane Center, this data. It's going to be either right on the cusp of a Cat 1 or maybe a powerful tropical storm. That remains to be seen. But coming right over between the Crystal River, Cedar Key, this area of Florida, by the way, very susceptible to flooding because of the topography of the state. So remember, tropical cyclones are like these massive well, they're massive engines, but imagine like they had these ginormous shovels that were underneath the base of those thunderstorms, and they pushed this wall of water towards land. So even though the storm surge is only expected here, only I say, between 3 and 5 feet, that's extremely vulnerable for the folks that live in this area. They know that they've built their infrastructure with that known fact that there is a very shallow shelf, ocean shelf, or Gulf of Mexico shelf. The topography of the state also lends to the pushing of the water more effectively onto land. So the concern will be for the flooding, even with a surge of 3 to 5 feet, which is very dangerous. It's typically not life-threatening, but in this region of the country, it can be very dangerous just by the mere fact of the shape of the state of Florida and where a tropical cyclone comes in. So, we'll hope for the best, and certainly I know people have prepared for this an event, and hopefully everyone will be ready to roll tomorrow morning. So as we head into the overnight and into tomorrow afternoon, again, starting to see that disk with the tropical storm force winds shrink. And then we're seeing primarily gusts in the neighborhood of 39 to 55 miles an hour, 57 officially is what this product reflects. And I'll show you some estimates here from our computer product, our wind forecast product. But I do think that there is certainly going to be an opportunity for some of these winds to expand outward relatively far from the center, because as I mentioned, this is going to start to take on some hybrid characteristics and not completely look like a tropical system by tomorrow night, or especially by Thursday. I think it's going to look much more hybrid, but that elongates the wind field. It becomes a larger system in size, not in power, but affects more people because the wind field itself expands. So we'll see if that indeed plays out, and I do think that's how that's going to look, but we'll see how that happens tomorrow and in the coming days. So here's a look at the potential wind gusts. Again, this product showing at noon tomorrow. Probably this is a little off with a 65 mile per hour gust in Cedar Key. I think by that point it's going to be well to your north, so you'll be on the south side of it, the weaker winds. So probably not going to be having that high of a wind at noon tomorrow, but it's certainly possible. 30 to 40, I think those are definitely on the table. And then as we head into tomorrow through the overnight, we're looking at 35, 40 mile per hour winds up into Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina as we head into Friday. And again, those will be ballparking around 45 to 50. And those are in gusts, not sustained winds. Remember, that's a gust. A sustained wind is a sustained wind for greater than 30 seconds. So, I don't think we're going to see long periods of these gusts, but certainly I wouldn't rule out a couple of isolated power outages, because I think that's also going to be a problem. All right, there's a look at the storm surge. Also new this evening, the storm surge again extending up into South Carolina at 1 to 2 feet. The rest of the western coastline, or most of the western coastline of Florida, 3 to 5, right in the central Florida area, up into North Florida, 2 to 3 feet, and that critical area, Cedar Key, again, that 3 to 5 foot range is where we're thinking most of that is going to come in. The risk for severe weather tomorrow is lower than it was today, so that's good news. The Storm Prediction Center can change this, so make sure you check back in with this forecast. We could see the risk for tornadoes increase as we get into tomorrow. Currently, we're at a relatively low risk. All right, here's our high resolution model, and this will show the rain as we head into tonight and through tomorrow. So take a look at this. I'm going to scrub this and just take a quick little peek at some of those, again, those bands will be moving over Metro Orlando into the attractions area in Central Florida. Lots of people are in the Central Florida area right now for summer, anywhere from the beaches over through the attractions and back over to Tampa. This is a highly visited area this time of the year, so a lot of folks will probably be stuck indoors tomorrow because it's not going to be a good day, of course. And then as we head into the early morning hours, there's those winds, 8:39. Let me just back that up again, just right around Cedar Key, 8:30, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, this is a guidance. This is a modeling data, so it may not be exact, but it's probably pretty close to this. And then up into just to the west of Alachua County, Marion County, right over Marion County, actually, and into Alachua as we get into the afternoon. And again, those storms will pull and extend into the southeastern part of the country as we get into Thursday and into Friday. So there'll be plenty of weather to deal with, not just in Florida, but in these other states as we head into the next several hours. And the rain rates, as I mentioned, we've already seen in Florida, the rain so far in the last couple of weeks has almost been 300% above the average. Just in the last couple of weeks, we had a deficit going out of May, closing out of May, but June was a very wet month, and July has started out very wet as well. So really racking up those numbers, and that's why there is concern for flooding as we head into these next couple of days, because there has been so much rain already on the ground. All right, a quick look at the radar one more time, then we'll shut this live stream down for the night, and we will be back with you early tomorrow, just so you can see again those heavy bands that are over western central Florida right now, right over the Tampa Bay area, and extending over into and southward down to the Fort Myers, Sanibel, Captiva area, Sarasota, Bradenton, all of those areas seeing significant rains, training, as I mentioned, that one cluster. Let me just show you that again. Let's see what it shows in the reflectivity estimates. It was showing 3 inches as is the guesstimate of the rain return from this particular one. Now it's showing just under 2.5 inches of rain. So again, significant rain. Storms will train on top of the other. I am sure there is probably some localized flooding going on there. If there's not flooding going on there right now, it will be probably happening in short order, because no ground, especially already saturated ground, can handle that kind of rain rate that quickly and not have some type of standing water, at least for a short period of time. So remember that tonight. Do remember that there has been a newly issued tornado watch that's been posted for parts of the interior, including the metro Orlando area, that will extend into early tomorrow. So make sure you have 2 ways to get your notifications. The MyRadar app turned on, with notifications turned on. We Matt Hyland and I, who are here working this evening, both got our notifications from the MyRadar app about that tornado watch, and Matt, who had his phone on, got the Amber Alert signal to alert him as well. So make sure that you've got your phone turned on with the notifications on. And also, if you hopefully you'll have a NOAA weather radio. Those are, $20, $25 at the box stores. You can get them on the online as well, and those are also another great way to keep you safe as we head through tonight. All right, you guys, well, that's going to do it for this update. Again, our next live coverage will start tomorrow morning early before the landfall with meteorologist Mike Linden, and Jamie Martin will also be in, a seasoned pro who's been through many hurricanes, and will be here as well to do some tag team, and I'll be in as well tomorrow to carry you guys through the duration tomorrow afternoon. All right, that'll do it for now, you guys. Thanks again for watching. I know it's late. We appreciate your support and appreciate you guys hanging with us, and we'll have a wrap up of today's events and much more on Elsa coming up with your fast forecast that will launch in just about 4 hours from right now. Stay safe, guys. We'll see you here tomorrow.